My name is Tim Paulson. I'm the Executive Director of the San Francisco Labor Council. We represent over 100 unions here in San Francisco and also many teachers' unions in both the public and the private sector. And people have already been very eloquent talking about the possibility of intolerance and discrimination being opened up by the Archdiocese with these proposals. What I'm here to say is that the employer is overreaching in this case right here. Workers need more rights, not less rights when things come down. And I'm here because I've been on the streets and listening to the teachers and listening to the parents and listening to the students and their main concerns. And this ministerial exception is over the top in terms of relationships to workers. It will exempt people, many more people, from any of the other laws and protections that they might have, whether or not it's in their collective bargaining agreement or not. And I'm just saying the rank and file, of which I'm hearing 80-some% have already signed up to say that they're against these new proposed rules, both in the collective bargaining agreement as well as the handbook, and the labor movement in San Francisco really does not tolerate that. And we really thank you for having this hearing today. I think it's very informative, and it's a great use of the legislative time. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kevin Buckley. I'm a graduate of Sacred Heart Cathedral in the class of 2013. I'll start by saying the educators at Sacred Heart Cathedral are my lifelong role models and now good friends, I'm proud to say. And during such a critical time in my life, they helped me to develop my personal identity, which included my Catholic identity, and strengthen my faith more than I could say. They know what their job is. The proposed ministerial exception is, in addition to being harmful, is just unnecessary. They know what their task is as Catholic school teachers. And the amount of support the teachers have received is a testament to just how much we love them as a community and will support them however they need it. I credit my strong Catholic faith to the exemplary college prep education I received in high school, and that proves that our schools can both be Catholic, have a Catholic identity, and be college prep. So in particular, discussing different viewpoints aided me in solidifying my own faith. Had the exchange of free ideas been prohibited, I certainly would not be as grounded as a Catholic as I am today. The website of the San Francisco Archdiocese says, under the section Archbishop's Welcome, that our schools, quote, offer learning opportunities rooted in academic excellence and the Catholic tradition for Catholics and non-Catholics alike. It is imperative that we keep our schools safe and secure for students and faculty of all faiths or no faith at all. Our community embodies the loving spirit of Christ in all that we do, while simultaneously providing a college prep education. Sacred Heart Cathedral is truly the most inclusive and loving community I have ever known. So we ask the Archbishop, please allow our school's culture of love and sound learning to continue to flourish as it has for so many years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Hugh McNeil and I'm gay. Next year I'm going to be a senior at Sacred Heart Cathedral High School. This past year has been a roller coaster, with Archbishop Corleone's attempt to take away teachers' rights by labeling them as ministers and also condemning me and my community as gravely evil. I wrote this speech both to tell you the importance of teachers who are LGBT allies, but also as a goodbye letter to a teacher who has been one of the biggest role models in my life. Dear Miss Bash, I'm not exactly sure how to tell you this or where to start, but I suppose I have to start somewhere. I was sitting on a Caltrain to Palo Alto. I had recently received my schedule for next year and was ecstatic to find that you were going to be my government teacher. While I hadn't gotten the chance to have you as a teacher yet, I felt as if you had been mentoring me for months. You had proofread my teach acceptance speeches, helped me draw posters for rallies, and talked to me about college. You were a person I could trust, and I could say with confidence that you were on my side. I knew you were under a lot of pressure from the Archdiocese because of your public support for LGBT students. I understood the risks you were taking, but I never really realized how much your leaving would affect me until I found out last week that you weren't coming back next year. And when I was trying to put together something to say, I kept thinking, this doesn't feel like I'm saying goodbye to a teacher. It feels like I'm saying goodbye to a friend, an ally, someone who would stand up for me. As you can see, I'm still having a little bit of trouble letting this go because that relationship means so much to me. Whatever I've said or attempted to say these last few days seem to be incomplete. So I think I'm finally ready to say goodbye. I hope that you spread all the joy, empowerment, and hope at your new school that you have shared with mine. You have given our school and our community so much. You have given me so much. Without you, I wouldn't be standing right here now giving this speech. I hope this becomes a symbol of why students need teachers who will support them, no matter their sexuality, their family structure, or their conception. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Mairead Allback. As a daughter of a teacher at one of the 4 archdiocesan high schools, a sister of a gay student who graduated from one of the 4 archdiocesan high schools, and a recent graduate of Sacred Heart Cathedral myself, I have seen firsthand the detrimental effects that Archbishop Cordileone's proposed changes to our teacher contract and student handbook have had on our community. I have seen students argue and cry after seeing the destructive language in the new handbook that labels who they are as gravely evil. I have seen teachers terrified to lose their jobs. I have seen parents weep because they are afraid their kids will no longer be safe to be who they are at school. Now, I do not know every detail of church doctrine or canon law, and I do not know much about California legislation, but I know my community. And I know that if Archbishop Cordileone's proposed changes are approved, teachers are going to leave or be wrongfully let go. Parents will pull their kids out of these amazing schools, and the students will be the ones who suffer. I urge you to not let that happen.
Thank you.
Esteemed assembly members and panelists, my name is F.X. Crowley. I come as a lifelong Catholic, union leader, and president of the Father Peter York Catholic Labor Committee, a fellowship of Bay Area organized labor members who share our Roman Catholic faith. I am a product of the San Francisco Catholic schools and have great respect for my former teachers as well as the experienced and professional faculty who have taught my Catholic school-educated children. I am most proud of the fact that my father, John F. Crowley, former Secretary-Treasurer of the San Francisco Labor Council, along with Nick Bridger and James Gallagher of AFT, secured protections for our Catholic high school faculty members by negotiating the first of its kind collective bargaining agreement for the Catholic school system here in the United States. After all these years, Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone seeks to overturn the protections afforded by the CBA by inserting a ministerial exception that would place this Catholic school above the law. Our Catholic school teachers would lose access to all state and federal anti-discrimination laws if the Archbishop's ministerial language prevails. While I have great respect for my faith, I have grave doubts concerning the sincerity and morality of our church's local leadership, who seeks to undermine the working people's job security and civil rights. My fellow Peter York Catholic Labor Committee members and I urge Archbishop Cordileone to withdraw the proposed ministerial language and pursue contract terms with the San Francisco Catholic high school educators and respect teachers, labor, civil and human rights inside and outside the workplace. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Sal Curcio, and I'm a teacher at Sacred Heart Cathedral. We'd like to thank the assembly members for calling this hearing. Like the majority of my colleagues, I love my job. Because our struggles with the Archbishop have been so public, I am often asked by friends, how are things going at work, or how is your community coping with the crisis? How do I answer? How do I answer knowing that our employer, the Archbishop, thinks it's okay to strip his employees of their most fundamental rights? How do I answer knowing the Archbishop's actions have made many students, parents, and my coworkers feel like second-class citizens in their own communities? How do I answer knowing that I am watching amazing schools that we love turned into places where our most vulnerable kids are told they or their parents are gravely evil? Some of my friends ask how we've had the endurance to continue this uphill fight against the Archbishop. It's because we love our jobs, and I think you could see that we love our students, and they're worth the struggle. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was going to say good morning, but it's good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Marcy Dunn Ballard. My niece and nephew teach at an archdiocesan high school. I'm the last and the oldest speaker. I attended Notre Dame Belmont in the 1940s. Sister Teresa Marie, my first grade teacher at Notre Dame, repeatedly called my mother to ask her, please tell Mary Claire to stop kissing my hand. So you see that I loved my first grade teacher. However, I was suspended in the first grade for a whole afternoon for unrelenting protests when the chart allotted to our classroom illustrated that my mother would not be in the highest place in heaven among the celibates, whoever they were. Helpless at that moment, Sister Teresa Marie summoned the Mother Superior. When her persuasive skills could not quell my 6-year-old outrage, my mother was called. My father came and got me. Sister Teresa Marie had no voice. She was powerless in that instance, and I was hurt because of it. I'm ashamed now, looking back, realizing the adults in our community were not concerned about modernity, and what was going on in the schools. Some people still explain all of this away by saying, well, that's the way it is. Thank God times have changed. But have times changed? Here we are today in 2015 debating whether teachers living in California, working at Sacred Heart, Sarah, Marin Catholic, and Reardon, have a reasonable expectation that their employer is not above the law. The Archdiocesan leadership today isn't hanging offensive charts in the classroom, but it is proposing putting tape over the mouths of our teachers. We cannot allow this or them to ignore science and truth. We may have Galileos in our midst, among our teachers and among our students. We will never know unless we give teachers a voice. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I can't stand for long. My name is Peggy O'Grady. Thank you to the members of the committee for hearing us all here today, and I appreciate the legal issues here. I'm a little sensitive to them, but I am speaking here as a mother, like so many here. I've been involved in this issue since I heard of the Archbishop's proposals initially. I'm the mother of 3 children, all of whom have gone through Catholic schools. I have several teachers of Catholic schools in the families, like so many who have spoken here, and I'm the product of Catholic education. So I say this with the deepest of respect and gratitude to what Catholic schools are about and the formation of young people of conscience and character. I am also the mother of a gay son. He came out while in an archdiocesan Catholic school several years ago, and I was so grateful for the community of support and diversity that embraced him. I was also, however, dismayed when in a religion class he heard what I believed was a distortion of Catholic teaching, that homosexuality was compared to bestiality and incest. But there were good people in his school of conscience and acceptance, teachers, students, counselors, some here who embraced and supported him and who, like our family, could express that support. I too believe and said he was made in the image and likeness of God. We in Catholic schools cannot be in the business of harming our students. Sadly, the Catholic Church doesn't have the best record in this regard, and we as parents have truly learned to find our voices and speak up. If the diverse and supportive community of our schools is threatened, fired, removed, or frightened away, they would not be safe places for our children. I want to also make mention of a recent op-ed piece by 2 faculty members and mental health professionals from UCSF, Benioff Children's Hospital, in which they speak to Archbishop Cordileone. It is entitled, "Do No Harm." In these, the professionals speak to the biologic underpinnings of sexual orientation as well as gender identity development, and they call on all institutions to support rather than condemn our LGBTQ youth. We need to be profoundly sensitive to the significant emotional and psychological damage that words, exclusion, and condemnation cause. I do not believe that has any place in any school, in particular our Catholic schools. And with regard to the goals of Catholic schools, as the labor attorney mentioned, growing intellectually and spiritually, absolutely. I think we all who send our children there appreciate that. They can't do that if they're being harmed, if they're being labeled as evil, if they are excluded and condemned. And when we've all have looked on the websites actually and embraced those messages of mission. What is being attempted here, I would say, is a significant change, and that's why parents and students and teachers have risen up with such a strong voice. I ask for and am grateful for your continued commitment to use whatever legal avenues are available to ensure that our wonderful Catholic schools continue to be safe, inclusive, supportive environments for our children, all our children. We deserve that. We deserve to fight for that for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, I'm going to... Yeah, provide anything to us and we'll make it a part of the record.
My name is Greg Hassan, and I've worked alongside so many of these families, and I just can't sit here and not say a thank you to them. When these changes started happening, I found it so incredibly disturbing. I've worked with gay youth for the last 25 years, 29 years maybe. For so many gay youth, because of growing up in traditional and conservative families, the schools are their sanctuary. It's the only place they know that they can be fully themselves by finding community. It breaks my heart to hear you and what you had said, that he's losing a teacher that provided the sanctuary. There are rooms of the LGBT teachers that become the sanctuary, the only place these kids can be seen. And the Archbishop is trying to shatter that. I have never, ever, in my 30 years of growing up from 22 on in San Francisco, I have never been more moved by a community of people. I have never felt a more thoughtful, incredibly loving group of people than the people that I've worked with over the last year or whatever. Just so beautiful. Thank you. And a few of us a little bit blonder, you. I want to say thank you. I think the job that we are doing is sacred. My 84-year-old Catholic mother said, for once you're using that big mouth of yours to do God's work. Amen. My mother would be so happy to see what happened here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think the one thing that we can draw is really how precious these schools are. And I know that while we spent a lot of our time talking about fairly theoretical and legal concepts, I really appreciate all of you for coming today to actually talk about how this matters in your life. Because ultimately that's what we're trying to discern. And we don't believe that when you enter these schools, you're supposed to leave part of yourself at the door. We don't believe that if you work at these schools that you also have to somehow hide part of your life at the door as well. And I think we want to make sure that all the rights that we have fought for and that they have been victories over years and years and years of efforts, whether they're civil rights laws, whether they're employment laws, that those continue to be there to protect employees, teachers, students, community members, and I think that's what we're trying to find. We're trying to strike a balance and be very respectful of an institution that wants to, again, teach their religious philosophy, which is their right. Yet we also want to make sure that those folks who've chosen to be employees, chosen to study there, chosen to be part of that community, don't have to lose theirs. So I really want to just thank you. As you could all see, it's not a simple solution. There is no easy silver bullet. I think if there was, then we would have already been doing something. But I know that I have full faith in our community here in San Francisco, in the Bay Area. I know that at times we are the first to do things, and we do things that people sort of scratch their head at, and only to find later that we were right all along. So I hope that we can continue to be part of the dialogue and discussion. I know that always good things come out of dialogue, and continue to debate and discuss issues. And I hope that we can continue to do that and hopefully find a path forward for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I want to thank everybody for coming out today. Here we sit in a city that's known internationally for its tolerance, and in a political international landscape of struggling with tolerance and what that means. And sometimes we take some steps ahead and we take some steps backward. I started my career on a school board, and I remember, so this was a public school, and had a small group of parents wanting us to fire teachers because they put a pink triangle in their classroom, and that pink triangle was a symbol that it was a safe place for anybody to be. And a couple of parents were very, very offended by that and came to the school board. We would not brook that intolerance, and in fact supported the teachers to do just that. And what worries me is that, and the ministerial exception that I know some of the testimony was concerned about, that's the law. There are good reasons for that. But I think what the concern is that if we start to expand those exceptions to our laws that protect individuals constitutionally from discrimination, that there is a state interest there. There is an alarm that needs to go off. There is a standard that I think California can and should be looking at. We're gathering information at this point, not presuming one way or another on an issue, but I think the legislature has been very clear over the last number of years that we will not stand for hatred, we will not stand for discrimination, we will not stand for intolerance. And finding our way through a very thorny issue here is what we're committed to do, and figuring it out. So I thank you for being a part of it. I want to thank our panel. We had a great panel, tremendous amount of knowledge, capability, history with the issue that has informed us. I want to thank committee staff for excellent background paper, and thank you for all turning out today. So this hearing is now adjourned.